Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in to the Rob and Mike Show. This is Rob.
That's Mike.
And we want to thank you again for tuning in. Episode 3.
Already.
Tres. We have arrived at episode 3.
Thrice.
That's the
word I love, so.
We've gotten there. Super exciting. You guys, again, I want to say thank you so much for your support. We've gotten some really, really great feedback. We really appreciate all of the messaging, both on Facebook and everything else. Don't forget that starting next Sunday, so that's actually going to be probably like a few days after you watch this episode, so the following Sunday, so coming up, because you're probably watching this on Thursday or Friday, so this coming Sunday, after we do our normal studio recording, we're going to pull out the laptops and we're going to pull out our cameras. And we're going to do some Facebook Live stuff. We're working on the Facebook page this week. So coming up, we're going to have this really exciting opportunity for you guys to kind of interact with us one-on-one live as we do our overtime show right after we do recording. And that whole episode, when we do Facebook Live, we're going to be talking about the things that you guys want to talk about. So please, the Rob and Mike Show at gmail.com. Send us some email about the kind of things that you want to talk about, the kind of live shows that you want to see, because we're excited about doing the live show on Facebook with you. And of course, please hit that like button. It really helps us out. It within the YouTube algorithm, it lets people know that people are watching us and that people are enjoying what they're seeing, and that puts us in front of other people. Go ahead and click on subscribe because it super helps us. The more subscribers that we have, the closer we get to being able to do live streams with you guys straight off of YouTube and not using Facebook. Even though Facebook is fine, but we want to be able to be with you guys in as many different venues as we possibly can. So please hit subscribe so that we can get to that magic number of 1,000. And once we get there, then we can go ahead and we can start doing live streams with you guys on YouTube as well. We are super excited about today's show.
Oh yeah,
I have to tell you guys. So
I'm excited about this.
This was Rob came up with this show idea today, and I will tell you that I was actually a little bit it gave me anxiety and a little bit of fear because I was that's a hard one, and so we're doing kind of a hard one, but we're doing it we're doing one that I think that everybody's really going to enjoy. Now, before we get into today's show, I wanted to just go through some of the comments that we got so that I can give you guys a little bit of here's something that you can do at home. So one of the comments that we got was, and we haven't changed around, we told you guys at the beginning of the show that we were going to have some different concepts and different backgrounds and different environments that we're going to be doing. But we heard a lot about the fact that there's kind of a blank wall behind us right now. And we also heard from our friends that were well, I'm an artist and I would love to do something for your background. So here's the thing, all of you artists that went ahead and messaged us and said, hey, you guys need something really, really cool in the background, go ahead and create it.
Send it to us.
Whether it's via email or you share it to that, via with Google Drive. And let's take a look at it. We are going to go ahead and we are absolutely happy to put everything up. And then you guys tell us, well, we didn't like that one. But hey, for you artists out there, when you send it to us, if there's comments in there that were well, I don't know why you guys put that behind you. It's not, don't take it personally. We might not use it, but we're going to definitely use one of them. So
and
definitely
please,
feel free.
if you don't do it to the email or to anything else on Facebook, please send it to us via our Twitter page, which once again is the Rob and Mike Show.
Mm-hmm.
Please message us at our Instagram, once again, is the Rob and Mike Show.
Yes.
And as Mike was saying, yes, I came up with this idea, and this one was tough. So a lot of you are watching know that I love top 5 lists. I've had conversations with many of you, and so I figured let's start off with a bang on this one. And we've decided to do our top 5 favorite soundtracks. Now,
so hard.
Let me tell you.
So hard.
I have a list right below me of 16. I had to narrow that down to 5. And that has changed multiple times, except my number 1, and it's kind of a spoiler if you're looking at my shirt. My number 1 is a spoiler right now.
So here's the crazy. So here's the crazy thing for me, right? So you start off with this 16 movie list, right? I literally had to struggle from 3 up to 5. I'm what? And you're whittling down, but here's the big difference. You're kind of like a movie file, right? You do. I mean, prior to COVID, right? You were a 1 to 2 actual theater
About
trips,
about
like a week.
30
Right?
something movies a year.
Right. I mean, at least, right? Like 30 movies a year, like, so if there was if there was something that was, the summer blockbuster, or if it was like an Academy Award thing, like, I may not have seen it. I'm not like the movie person, but like, when they talk about those movies, you know what they're talking about. Like, you're the person that goes, and what I love about you is that you're the person who will go to a movie by yourself.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm a
that's
complete cinephile.
Right, there's so many people that will not do that, but you just like you love movies. So this was like, so I'm excited about your list much more so than I'm excited about my list, because my list is just like, well, I mean, I went to go see a movie in 19.
Now, what's interesting for me though is my top 5 soundtracks are not my top 5 favorite movies of all time, which is what I found very interesting. Actually, your wife brought it up and asked me, she's like, is this one of your favorite movies of all time? I'm like,
Right.
no, I like this movie. I'm like, it just has a killer soundtrack. And
Right.
one of my honorable mentions is my favorite Marvel movie of all time, and it just missed out
Right.
on my top 5
Right.
favorite soundtracks.
So, funny thing on this one. So, and I agree with you, because when I was going through this, and there's a whole bunch of like things that for me that were hard about this list. But when I was going through this, I went through the exact same experience. On my list of like my like what I would put as like my top 5 soundtracks, there, like, one of these is in my top 5 movies.
Of all time?
Right? Of all time. Like, one of them is in my top 5 movies of all time. For whatever reason that happens, that's just the way that it works. Sometimes the soundtrack is so great that, because it's of what it means to you, but the movie may not mean as much to you. So I completely understand that. The other thing that I realized while I was making this list was that a lot of the things that I picked as far as the soundtracks that I like had a lot to do with like my personal like sort of behaviors as a human, right? So before I moved to Washington, so you guys know I'm actually from Illinois, and what's really different about when you come sort of to the West Coast versus the Midwest is a 45-minute drive to go hang out with some friends of mine isn't a long time in Illinois, because it's flat and there's then you can kind of avoid traffic and things like that. And then when you live in the Midwest, you take a lot of road trips. I remember, when we were younger, we used to take a lot of trips out to see our friends at different
down to
colleges,
Iowa and
go to Iowa or go to deep state like parts of Illinois and Wisconsin. So taking like a 3-hour road trip was just like a nothing thing, right? And so a lot of the things that I picked out were those soundtracks that I did that with. Those are a lot of these are road trip soundtracks. So and I don't know if people even do that anymore, have that kind of time to like go through it, but. That's kind of like where I went with mine, and that's the trajectory of that. But enough about talking about the background of it. I'm going to have Rob start off with this, because he is the cinephile, he is the movie file, and he knows so much more about any of this than I do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start. And here are our top 5 movie soundtracks. And hey, you guys. In the comments below, what's your top 5? What's your top 1? What's that movie soundtrack that you're like, I listened to this thing like I used Frank's Red Hot. I put that
on everything, yeah.
All right,
and
so here we go.
Here we go. Now, a little backstory of mine, like you said, mine's not road trips, but they're like ones that I listen to. If they're on, I'm always going to do it. Do I own these soundtracks? It's just, am I going to listen to them? And let's thank God this is only movie soundtracks, and in my case, thank God not musical soundtracks, because that would, never mind. If you know, you know. So, my number 5, and this is pretty much all of mine are actually old, is I'm going off with Set It Off.
You're starting off with Set It Off.
Set It Off is number 5.
Okay, Set It Off.
Set It Off.
Okay.
Love. Once again, movies I love. Set It Off being my top. Set It Off would probably not even be in my top 10 movies of all time. But I love it. It's a great soundtrack.
Right.
If it's on, I'm listening to it. I'm banging it. It's bumping. It's got a mix of everything. It's got hip hop. It's got R&B. It's got soul. It's got hard school rap. It's got a great remake by Seal on there. I believe he does a remake of Hey Joe on there.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes.
So
I remember that one. Fantastic.
So that's my number 5.
Okay. Now this is weird for me. I really didn't put. I have my number 1, and so the rest of these are going to be in like no uncertain order.
Okay.
But but they're just how I'm going to mention them. The last two I know that I'm going to reserve, but I'm going to go with my number 5 being Dazed and Confused.
It's a good.
Dazed and Confused, not necessarily on my top 5 movie list. Really, really great movie. Really, really fun movie. Obviously dating the hell out of myself. But one of the things that I really like, Dazed and Confused it's a great driving soundtrack. It's a great, like, sitting and listening soundtrack. If you're just hanging out with your friends, it's really great. It's just like late 70s and early 80s, like, power rock.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, there's, Ozzy's on there. There's a few other bands that are on there, and so it's really got just like a representation. Like, you feel the genre of the movie. Like, you feel like, yeah, man, it's 1977. Let's do this, man. So I really love that one because I really like. There's so many like great rock songs on that album.
It's a good album. Another one, good movie. So I'm gonna go with my number 4, which might surprise some people. I'm gonna go with the Big Daddy soundtrack.
Really?
And this is an interesting soundtrack. Saw the movie with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. Actually, it's probably in my top 3 favorite Adam Sandler movies of all time.
Okay.
It was one of his. Yeah, he was goofy, but there was some heart in the movie itself. But the soundtrack is so mixed.
Right.
I mean, so mixed. You've got Far Side on there. You've got Big Audio 5. You've got Rush. You've got Mel C from the Spice Girls doing and it's just this. It's got Garbage. Actually, it's my favorite Garbage song. When I Grow Up is on there, and it's just a good mix, and I think it kind of fits like my playlist of like what I would listen to. It's just a nice hodgepodge of music.
No, I got it. So that's really funny. Now I'm just gonna. This is just jumping on that whole idea. So, and it's an Adam Sandler reference more so than anything else. I know a lot of people, either you know it or you don't know, but Adam Sandler is actually a really accomplished musician.
Yes.
He's kind of a down-ass dude, to be honest with you. Like, a lot of people don't know, they're just like, oh, but no, he's seriously a down-ass dude.
Yeah.
He's got some really, really great musical taste of his own. And if you check him out, I know a lot of people also don't know that, like, Adam Sandler will school you on a basketball court.
He's got a nice little jumper.
He's got some pretty good skills, so that's really cool. Anyway, so I think that's like, I like Adam Sandler. I think a lot of people don't realize how cool and down Adam Sandler is, so that's really exciting. For number 4 for me, I'm actually going to go with the Ali soundtrack. Now, I know that sounds weird, but again, there are some really, really outstanding, like, there's some older music on that, but I will tell you, my highlight from the Ali soundtrack is really the Everlast song, The Greatest.
Yes.
I think it's the best song that Everlast ever did. I think it's fantastic. It's, and it has this cadence to it that whether it's you're getting ready to go work out or you're going for a drive or you just want to wake up in the morning and feel like I can conquer the day.
It's a hype song.
It's a feel-good hype song.
Okay, I know
and it's a really unknown hype song, but I think it's great.
And I'm going to go with you. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the soundtrack. It does not... You said Ali, and I was like... I couldn't think of a song off the top of my head, which is weird. Because I've watched the movie a ton of times, and that's what I like, is that we've got... And let me tell you, folks, our lists are so spread out through genre and music that it's so different. Okay, so that was your 4.
Yes, that was number 4.
Okay, so this is my recent one, and this does hark back to being a theater kid.
Okay.
My number 3, because I listen to it, at least one song from it once a day, is The Greatest Showman. I love The Greatest. I love that movie.
Wait. Now people also need to understand that, because I went, but then I immediately went, well, it's a musical, and I am actually I was actually really I'm now that I think about it, I'm shocked that musical did not come up first.
It did
with what you do, because I know how much your mom actually is huge musical.
And I'll admit, Hugh Jackman is one of my few man crushes. I've seen the man live. It is a great, fun movie. The music's great. I mean, it's Michelle Williams. They're all doing that.
Yes.
Zac Efron, Zendaya. And it's just...
It is an outstanding movie.
And there's some non-traditional hype music, but there's a couple of songs on there that I listen to, and I'm like, yeah, let me start my day. I can,
Right.
Let's go. I know it's a weird one, but like I said, if you know, you know. I love my musical theater, but
he loves his musical theater.
This is the only one I did because this is not an actual movie that was turned from a musical into a movie that it was actually its own source. So that's why I made the soundtrack, because otherwise I could have done all the movies that have been made of musicals, and I'm just like,
No, absolutely,
This
yeah.
one, I like this one because it was its own thing.
No, I give you credit that the entire list is not musical, so because it could easily have been. Okay, so that was number 3.
Yeah,
for you?
that was my thrice, because I just like saying that word.
That
so.
was number 3. So my number 3 on this is actually going to be "Do the Right Thing."
I'm surprised that's not number 2 for you.
Spike Lee, huge. No, you know what? So here's the thing. It was really about reviewing, and again, it was about like the not just the soundtrack in and of itself, but like it's kind of like its drivability, its listenability. There's a lot of "Do the Right Thing" is it's my sleeper one, right? Because there's all these really great like slow groove songs on there.
And then of course you have the ultimate anthem. From
Right, you've got "Do the Right Thing," the ultimate anthem. You got to "Fight the Power," which like it doesn't really get much more like, you know, whether you think of it as a rights anthem or whatever, but huge, like it's "Fight the Power." Like, you know, no one like turns off "Fight the Power."
No.
Like it comes on and you're just like, and the rhythm design, you know, that's just it, you know. So I absolutely love that one, and again, it has this great listenability. There's a lot of really, really great songs on that one, and it harkens back again to, you know, that sort of that early, you know, period of, you know, Spike Lee's career. That's like 80 something. It's earlier 80s.
Now is this one where the time of the movie fits with your placing of the soundtrack?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay.
Absolutely. I think that when that movie came out and where we were in life puts a lot into my love of that. And there's not a whole lot of songs, I think, as a young man growing up in, you know, Chicago and in America, where like "Fight the Power" when it came out wasn't just a like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fight him, here we go. So definitely love that one. That one was outstanding. All right, number 2 for you.
My number 2 harkens back to my favorite style of music. Believe it or not, there's something above musicals. I am, because of the way I was raised, my family in Gary, all that, I am a Motown sound person, and my number 2 soundtrack is the 5 Heartbeats.
Oh God.
And now this does play into movie and soundtrack, and that's why it's so high in my life. One, it's a great memory of when I saw it and who I saw it with, and 2, it was loosely based on the career of the Dells, the rise and fall of just, you know, of those groups at the time.
So this is just a really, really like silly offshoot, right? So one of the reasons that I love that you put the 5 Heartbeats in there is because it is sort of loosely based on the Dells, right? And the Dells were like my dad's jam. My dad would be like, "You ain't heard nothing, dude," and got down with the Dells. Like, it was very much, that was his like black man, like his band, you know, group, and he loved the Dells. And so it was a really great,
and it was Robert Townsend, and it's just a great movie, and it harkens back to some of the music I grew up on. Luckily, I grew up on a lot of music.
And I'm pretty sure that at that time, that was, and for those of you that are not familiar with Robert Townsend's career, I mean, yes, fantastic actor, but really just like a really, really talented and amazing filmmaker and director.
Yes.
So definitely like one of his most epic.
And once again, that is a soundtrack I own. I like to listen to. Now, the funny thing is, one of my favorite soul groups does most of the music is After 7.
Okay.
And they did most of the songs for the
movie.
For the movie. I mean, the actors, I believe, sang it in the movie. Please don't quote me. But yeah, they did, you know, nights like this, I Wish Raindrops Would Fall. It's done by After 7. And yeah, that.
And if you don't know that song, when you're done watching our video and liking and subscribing,
YouTube
that one. It's really good.
I mean, it'll remind you of, if you were a New Edition fan, it'll remind you of some of that. But that's I can go on a tangent. I can go on a tangent about 5 Heartbeats, but I think I'm gonna wait for my tangent for my number 1, because that's gonna be my tangent.
There is a tangent. There's more tangent. All right, so that's number 2 for you.
Yeah,
number 2. All right, and again, are you specifically putting these in order?
Yes, I am.
You know, loosely. Okay.
No.
So for me, this was number 1 and number 2 were so hard. I think number 1 and number 2 were so hard because they both fit everything that I've been talking about, right? They're both great driving soundtracks. They both got like these really great like hits in them. They're both really kind of feel good soundtracks. Like, I don't want to be like depressed when I listen to a soundtrack. I want to like, it's like movies when I'm watching them. Like, I don't want to like watch, like when I love movies that are sad and are poignant, but I'm not going to like rewatch them over and over again. Like, oh my God, sad and poignant movie.
Yeah.
But those ones that are just like, woo, I feel good about it. So, number one and number two. So for number two, and this was really hard to put it in number two as opposed to number one, but I did because it was important.
But I
so
know why your number one's number one because we've talked about it, and you know why my number one's
This
my
is
number
actually
one.
funny because I don't know that you know what my number two is. My number two is actually Rain Man.
Oh!
Yeah, my number two soundtrack is actually Rain Man. Now, I loved Rain Man. Now, here's the thing. I love driving. Right, and it's a driving movie,
yeah.
Right? It's a buddy driving movie. We're gonna get my buddy in the car, and we're gonna drive across country. And so there's a couple of reasons why I love this movie, or why I love this soundtrack. One, I love this soundtrack because I kind of do love the movie, and the reason that I love the movie, this is actually I'm not particularly a huge Tom Cruise fan, and the problem with it is that like I'm not particularly a large Tom Cruise fan, not because I don't like Tom Cruise's work, but because Tom Cruise is weird and scary. And it's not that he's like, no, because here's the thing. So I don't dislike Tom Cruise.
No,
like, I'm not like that person that's like, he's a Scientologist and that's crazy and like he did things like that, Katie Holmes. But like there was so you remember there was that whole moment where like the British actor, like the British guy, he was like a spoofer, right? And he sprays Tom Cruise with like the flour, and he's spraying a bunch of people.
Oh, Ricky Gervais.
Right. And Tom Cruise is like, don't, and he grabs him, he's like, don't go anywhere. I don't know if it was him, he grabs him, he's like, no, don't leave. Don't leave. Let's talk about it. And I was like, oh my God. He wants to take your skin right now. And it was just this weird moment. So anyway, it's not that I don't like Tom Cruise, but anyway, I just think he's weird and scary. But in this movie, I actually love Tom Cruise, and I think that he does this really, really fantastic job. That may be because that he's playing opposite Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
But Rain Man is a driving movie. It's got these really great driving songs in it. I think it's not Bananarama. The other group like that that does this really, really like a couple of really fantastic songs in this movie. There is. It's just a great driving soundtrack, and I really, really enjoy it because the movie is always based around that. So I give Rain Man number two just because there's not a whole lot of albums that I would like to take a long road trip to. I will always put Rain Man on a road trip. It's never going to let me down on a road trip.
Okay. Now, before I get my number one, because my list is as long as yours, I just want to say some honorable mentions because if I don't, I'm gonna feel bad.
No.
Crooklyn, which is a great soundtrack, Spike Lee movie. Just Missed is Black Panther. For me, it's not a full album, but it is really good.
It's got enough.
A movie you might not know, Gridlock. It's a great movie. One of Tupac's very last movies.
You went there. Like that's
it's a great soundtrack.
Beyond hearing the soundtrack, have you seen the movie? If you haven't seen the movie, it's actually worth seeing.
Yes, and a very dear friend of ours I saw it with way back in the day.
Yeah.
But I can go on a tangent of my, just hate list.
It's like 2 pages.
So my number one, as I said, is a spoiler.
I'm on a sticky note. Rob's on a notebook.
I am wearing the shirt. It will always be to the day I die. Anytime anyone asks me, it's always going to be Purple Rain. Major reason why, I just think head to toe, there is not one bad song on there. That is an album.
So here's the thing. I agree with you 100%.
You can listen to it, and I do, over and over again. And believe it or not, Purple Rain is not the song I listen to over and over again. And Purple Rain actually has my number one hype song if I need to feel better. And that is Baby I'm a Star. If you cannot listen to that song and feel better about yourself and want to go conquer the world and be like, yes, I am the bomb, I am the shit, I can do anything. Right. It is Baby I'm a Star and Purple Rain.
Here's the thing. It's almost unfair because I agree with you. There are I dare you. Tell me, please, in the comments below.
If you think there's one bad song.
Please tell me what's the bad song on Purple Rain. Here's the thing that's really crazy. When you talk about soundtrack versus movie, the movie is good. Don't get me wrong. But the soundtrack destroys the movie, right? Because it's just, the
movie is almost a showcase for the soundtrack.
Right, exactly. The movie is a showcase for the soundtrack. It's not the other way around. The movie was made around the soundtrack. We all know that. It was a debut thing. And there's nothing bad on it. There's literally not a single bad song on it. I don't know which. Please, like I said, in the comments below if there is a bad song on the Purple Rain album. I've never heard it. You might have one that you know about. All right, so number one.
Oh, I did keep that from a tangent. Good. Woo.
You did. We have enough time for you to do one more tangent after the number one song.
I'm fine.
Okay, so my number one is actually The Karate Kid.
I'm not laughing at you.
Love this movie.
I'm not laughing at you.
And I'm not going to be wrong. This is total geek moment. I just love the movie. So let me give you the background on this, right? When The Karate Kid came out, I was old enough to go to a theater without my parents, but I was in summer camp at the time. So I went to go see The Karate Kid with my summer camp group. My Christian summer camp group that my parents put me in. It was really, really impressive, and I enjoyed myself very, very much, and I learned how to pitch tents, and I learned how to fish, and all sorts of really, really great things with my awesome friend Brian O'Mahony. Please check out his website, his YouTube channel as well, which is, I'm going to put right here because I can't remember the name of it right now. But, so anyway, so one of my oldest friends was there with me, and I loved this. Did I just get called by the... Did they just time me out?
I think so.
That was like my stage manager was just like, no.
That was...
I don't even have a stage manager. That was God saying, shut up.
That's
Anyway,
because you're making fun of Christian camp. That's why.
right? I said Christian camp, and God was like, YMCA camp when this came out, and I got to go see it over the summer with a lot of my friends that were all like, preteens and all that other stuff with me. So yeah, you'll know how old I am if you judge preteen with The Karate Kid. So anyway, it was really great. Cruel, cruel summer. Night is born. I mean, it was just a really, really great soundtrack. I enjoyed it. When I hear it, it makes me feel...
Brings back memories.
Right, it brings back memories and makes me feel like a kid again.
And that's why this list was tough. Like I said, Mike wasn't kidding. I have like 7 more songs, albums I could mention,
yes,
which I didn't. And they were feels, and they were... Some of it was the memories of who I saw it with, and just, or what time of my life when the soundtrack came out on. So there's a list that I wish I could go on and on about.
Yes.
But as Mike said before, that's our top 5.
That's my top 5.
And I'm sure mine could change. I will let you know. Number 1 will never. Actually, my number 1 and 2.
And as more movies come out and more songs are written, those lists change.
But my 1 and 2 will probably never change. Those are probably, for me, pretty solidified on mine.
I don't know that you're ever going to not take you're going to take Karate Kid away from me. I don't know.
Yeah, but please, in your comments on even in our Twitter, go to our Twitter and be like,
leave it down there.
Leave it down there. If you have another idea for a top 5 list that we can do, please let us know.
Please let us know. Put it in. Email us. Put it in the comments. Also, don't forget, you guys. Please hit the like button. If you've been with us for the last 28 minutes, it really doesn't take more for you to just go ahead and click on the like button.
And it's free.
The little thumbs up. You don't have to do anything. You just click thumbs up, and it goes boom. And then YouTube knows that people enjoy watching what we do. Please click subscribe because again, the more subscribers we get, the more content we can bring to you. So we really want to be able to do a lot more with you. And so again, the more people that we watch, the more permissions they give us to bring you more stuff. So please help us bring you more things that you think are entertaining and funny.
And we'll see you next week.
All right. That's Rob.
That's
Mike. This is the end of episode 3. We'll see you for episode 4. Don't forget that after episode 4, there's going to be a live session on Facebook that you want to be at. Thank you so much for watching. And please subscribe, like. We love you.
Peace.
We'll see you next time.